And welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Providence here from Rhode Island. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Jacob Van Loonen. First draft match of the day, and we've got two of the top teams here. Currently, we have the only undefeated team on the right-hand side, Eugene, Hwang, Chen-Tao, and Andrew Brown versus NorCal constituency here. It's Sam Pardee, Matt Nass, and Jacob Wilson. These guys... Team GP champs is apparently what
Matt
they
Nass, Grand Prix champion. Jacob Wilson, Grand Prix champion from Chicago earlier this year. Sam Pardee, very recent Grand Prix champion.
That's right. He just won in Portland, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I was there, I should remember.
Lots of voice of resurgence in his deck there.
And birthing pods.
That's true.
Yeah. Said he played over 100 dailies with that deck. All right, so
Wow.
Riot Piker is going to get in there for Jacob Wilson. Andrew Brown has led off with the Forest and a Plains, but has nothing else to follow up, and Jacob's got to feel like he's in a decent position to start with this Armored Transport as well. And no play. All three colors here for Andrew Brown. No play. Are we expecting an Arrows of Justice? Nothing. Take
Nothing.
4.
Ooh, that
All
is
right.
not where he wants to be.
Yeah. Wow, and 2 1-drops on the 4th turn here. It's a Boros Elite, a very good 1-drop, and then Foundry Street Denizen, less so, but still... And there he is, the Moss Dog millionaire himself. Thrashing Moss Dog. This is going to be a nice stop sign, but it is one trick or removal spell away from being removed and having Andrew Brown take 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, he might just be taking 11 and losing his guy because Jacob Wilson, I believe, has a Dynacharge in hand.
Okay.
Then again, I believe Jacob Wilson also has Viashino First Blade.
Oh, okay.
So he has a couple different options. So he
Yeah.
can First Blade his opponent, just presumably putting Andrew down to 10. And then next turn, he can finish the job with a Dynacharge, as long as Andrew only plays.
Well, he's also got Dynacharge open, so like if Andrew decides to block the Piker, for example, then the Dynacharge could take down the Moss Dog on its own.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't seem likely, though. Do you think the block is on the Boros Elite here if you're going to block?
Foundry Street Denizen, right? It's the only one that it blocks and kills.
And still lives. Yeah, you're right. And it was triggered. I forgot that it actually did get the trigger from the First Blade.
Mm-hmm. And a lightning fast game here.
Yeah, just a super, super fast game.
It looks like Jacob doesn't even need the Dynacharges in his hand.
He doesn't currently. And that's it. Wow, Jacob Wilson takes down the first game on basically a turn 5 concession here.
Yeah, so what I was saying before about wanting to draft, big, clunky decks, I stand corrected.
Well, I mean, hey, it wasn't like you were decreeing that every draft would go that way. All right. So
here's more of what I was expecting.
I think we have Sam Pardee on the left-hand side, and he's got an Ascended Law Mage with Knightly Valor on it. This is like the most regal creature ever to hit Magic the Gathering table. And he's facing down, well, he's also got a Murmuring Phantasm for the big blocks. And if he wants, he can also get in with the Hazda Snare Squad and the Knight token at some point. Those are going to be more active next turn as he's only facing down a Crawl Warrior and an Ember Beast. Let's see if Eugene decides, oh, he's just going to send him in there. And the Knight token's going to jump, well, 2 blocks here. Ember Beast gets blocked by the 0-5, and Crawl Warrior, he says, sure, I'll take a trade with the Knight.
He has a 5/4 Hexproof in play against a color combination.
Oh, wow, turn and burn. He's going to make the Murmuring Phantasm an 0-1.
That's a nice 2-for-1 for him, but
Yeah.
I mean, I can't like his spot here. His opponent's still at 20, and he has, 5/4 Hexproof Flyer in play.
Yeah. And also the ability to tap down any opposing flying or anything that can get in the way if he needs to, at least for a turn. I mean, if we look, it's interesting because there were some blocks there, but Eugene's at 13. I mean, Sam is definitely ahead in this race.
Then again, we also don't know what was passed. Maybe they passed something like Wrecking Ogre.
Sure. Wow, so much toughness for Sam Pardee.
Yeah, and now
he's got
not
a
only
Mind Eye Drake now.
Not only so much toughness, but now he also has 7 points in the air with an opponent who's at 7.
Yeah. And you could see that he made that attack with the snare squads so that he could set this play up. Seen it at 20 life, he has virtually nothing to fear. He can just take any damage that's thrown at him this turn, especially now that there's a bunch of mana tapped in. It looks like he's going to be in good shape to take down game 1 here. So Sam Pardee, he won a Grand Prix in Modern recently. He was also in the Magic Online Championships.
Definitely an up-and-comer. Somebody who we need to be watching.
Oh, absolutely. And looks like Eugene's just passed the turn back, and Sam's going to say, well, let's finish you off. And that's it. He does exactly that. So 2 quick wins.
Yeah, the Grand Prix Day 2 is a good place to have Jacob Wilson, Sam Pardee, and Matt Nass on your team.
Like tradition, if you just look at the numbers,
the numbers of their Grand Prix Day 2 records.
All right, let's take a look at Matt Nass in the middle here. He's got a frilled Oculus, and he's facing down Chen-Tao with, looks like a Rakdos Drake and a Gutter Skulk. But we will notice here that Tao is at 7.
Is that accurate?
It must not be. I think that must have been from the turn.
Yeah, I think that was from the other game where he...
Yeah, so we're still getting updated on that. He's going to add another Gutter Skulk to the board. Those are the kind of cards that really become great in the team draft environment because they're easy to cast and they do their job.
Yeah, you just want 2 drops.
Yeah, 2 drops are just solid plays, generally speaking. Maze Glider for Matt Nass. We'll still get these life totals updated, but I'm assuming they're both at fairly high life total here, as all we see is one card in the graveyard. It's a Towering Indrik. I'm not really sure how that died, but... oh, there's something in the yard for Dow. I can't quite see it, though.
So...
Matt Nass with 3 cards in hand. All right, here's a 4-drop.
It looks like it's going to be a creature. I mean, he'd like to have something like a Grizzly Spectacle for the Maze Glider.
I think he'd like to have Ixava. Hey, look, it's Ixava. He does unleash it, though the 3/5 is going to wreak havoc here if he doesn't have some type of Blood Rush or something. Wow, he must. He's going to attack with all of his creatures into a 1/3 and a 3/5. 1/3 can't block anything profitably here, but the 3/5 certainly can.
Yeah, I mean, he must have like a Rubble Belt Mocker in his hand or something like that.
Yeah, and then the 1/3 can jump in front of either of the 2 Gutter Skulks, and I just meant it can't eat anything, but it can certainly block. So Rubber Belt Maka is something to be considered. Skinbrand Goblin is something that needs to be thought of. There's no black spells or effects that only cost 1 that really matter here.
Yeah, I mean, Skinbrand Goblin, not quite what you're looking for here because he just eats the Rakdos Drake anyway. You know, it can't...
He what?
It can't make the Rakdos Drake big enough to fight with the Maze Glider.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So, I mean... there's actually a chance that Jaijin Chen is just trying to sneak in 6 points of damage here. Maybe he has something like Stab Wound, Explosive Impact in his hand.
Okay.
You know, he just wants to, like, he recognizes that his opponent doesn't have the ability to put a ton of pressure on him, and he can just end the game with Reach. Mm-hmm. And his opponent can't really attack him because he has Ixava in play.
Right.
So now it doesn't look like it's Ixava, or Rumble Belt Maka, rather, because if it was Rumble Belt Maka...
he would just snap it off on the Drake and
it would be a happy day for him.
Right. Okay, so first strike damage happens. He writes that down, and it looks like they're going to go to regular damage. And yeah, I think you were right, Jake. He just wanted to get in a bunch of damage. Oh, he's got a Electrickery, I think, to finish off the... Yeah, okay, so I think he was kind of hoping that Ixava might get blocked by Maze Glider so he could take it out. But Matt Nass says no, sir, to that.
Yeah, I think the Drake's just a better block. I mean, there are a ton less cards that actually hurt you there.
Go to attacks. Wow, this is an aggressive game here for Chen-Tao. He is sending in, and Matt Nass says, I'm just going to keep eating away at your team here. Now a Gutter Skulk's down, but like you mentioned before, Jake, there's another 6 damage. Interestingly, Matt Nass has no follow-up play to the Maze Glider. I mean, you'd expect that he would put something else. Ooh.
And that's, that was what I was talking about. Like,
yeah,
he
exactly.
just figured, I can just end this game with Reach if I can just squeak through enough damage.
Yeah, and Matt Nass has drawn a Giant Growth to go with a bunch of lands in hand, and Tao is one land away from being able to just finish his opponent off. That's assuming that these attacks aren't successful. He could also just send in with both guys. He can also just use the Cinder Elemental. Wow, okay. Grizzly Spectacle is going to take down the Maze Glider anyway. And
I think that Nass might
lethal.
have like a weird card in his hand the way he's played the game. Are you sure it's just lands?
No, I'm not sure. No, I know he has 2 lands. I don't know what else.
Yeah,
oh, he's got a Giant Growth. Giant Growth lands something. I thought it was 2 lands, but we'll have to...
I think he's going to Mizium Ski this thing.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so he Mizium skins to save. He really thought about that for a while.
Yeah.
So I believe his hand now is land Giant Growth.
Yeah, I think Chen-Tao should just pass. Ooh.
Oh, wow. He's just going to attack with everything anyway. Hey, this is actually a really bad spot for Matt, though, right? It's not like he can afford to block the Cinder Elemental.
He's going to go to 2 here. And I guess, yeah, it's just a free attack.
Yeah, because it was lethal anyway.
Well, the Giant Growth is going to let him eat up the Exava, but...
Yeah. But he's going to need to find a way to get rid of it. And when you're in blue-green and you need to get rid of his Cinder Elemental, you're in a very, very bad spot. Something like Crisis Incubation could do it for him. Unfortunately, a Forest will not. And he just says, go. And there it is. Cinder Elemental takes down Matt Nass. So
Cinderella.
Yeah, Judge Chen-Tao takes down the first game for his team. And he's the only one out of the first games to actually win that. So let's jump over to one of our other tables. This looks like Jacob Wilson versus Andrew Brown again. Jacob with his very aggressive deck. His deck looks really good.
His deck looks really, really
good. We've seen a bunch of very aggressive cards. Riot Piker, Haas's Snare Squad, Warmind Infantry, and a Sky Knight Legionnaire. This time he's facing down 2 1/4s and a 3/3 with Reach, though, so a solid defensive position here for Andrew Brown. That said, everybody's coming in, and the Haas's Snare Squad's going to use Jacob's only white source of mana to tap down the Thrashing Moss Dog. That's going to prompt blocks on 2 of the creatures. There's a Battalion Trigger on the Warmind Infantry. So the Riot Piker down, but he did take 6 damage that hit. And Jacob Wilson has kept up potential Battalion for the next turn. And we're going to see a Cluestone cycled here into a Swamp. There's a Verdant Haven for Andrew Brown.
And Andrew Brown looking pretty good this game. I mean,
there?
he has the double Extort going against the deck that's trying to reach him out.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to play a 3/5 Vigilance here with an Extort trigger right now.
When we joined the game, he was at a massive 19 life.
Yeah. We see him counting out here. He's going to float a white or float a black, and then, yeah, he's going to be in pretty decent shape. Even with the Extort Snare Squad. Yeah, Maze Sentinel. Extort you. And he's going to have 2 blockers up here. One of them is going to get tapped down by the Snare Squad if there was to be an attack, but it looks like there's no more attacks to be had here. That Maze Sentinel's just huge on the board. Ooh. Was that a Tristani's Judgment? I couldn't quite see. We'll have to see what that card that Jacob Wilson drew us, but I think it may have been that.
Yeah, now Jacob's really going to need to just start drawing into like Reach, or he needs Andrew to make a little bit of a misstep so that he can use the removal spell to
wow, Traitorous Instinct. Here's
really
a big
aggressive
swing. And remember, he's got the planes up still so that he can activate his Snare Squad. And he's getting in there for a bunch. Unfortunately for him, Andrew still does have decent blocks, and it's only going to be 6 total damage that's coming through here. But wait. Must have been a... yeah, it is. Swift Justice here that he's going to use to take down... Oh, I think we have a timing question here. I'm not really sure what the discussion is about. I believe he wants to do the Swift Justice here on the May Sentinel, but
I mean, it could gain him some life. I don't know what. Is he just doing this to jump up and so he doesn't lose a race, or?
I mean, it'll take down one of the blockers.
Oh yeah, he'll take out the guards.
Right, take out the guards. Yeah.
Well, doesn't it already take out the guards? It is traitorous instinct.
Oh yeah, it does. So do you think that he maybe decided to
not do it?
Not do it. Maybe that's what the discussion was.
That probably was what it
Matt
was
Nass
about.
or somebody could have chimed in and said, "Well, that's going to do that anyway."
Yeah. That's why I was confused. I was like, he's trying to gain a bunch of life. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. It makes sense why he took it back. I guess that he hadn't quite gotten to the point of no return as far as announcing and casting a spell, putting it on the stack. Now, he unfortunately did let Andrew know, though, that he's got it now, which could matter. It could also just not matter. You know, there's a good chance that it's like whatever. Now, what is that in hand?
Looks like that is a ground assault.
Oh, yeah, it is a ground assault. So what are you taking out here with your ground assault? Do you just need to kill the snare squad?
Legionnaire, I think.
Oh, just kill the Legionnaire. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's going to extort it too? So how come the Legionnaire?
I mean, it's a flyer. It's like the Moss Dog right now. It's the only thing in between Brown and getting hit in the face repeatedly by the Legionnaire.
So if it were to go away,
yeah. If he gets rid of the Moss Dog,
he
then
does know
Brown is
about
still
the
fine
Swift
against all
Justice.
the other things. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So it also can just attack into the Moss Dog and then just Swift Justice it away. So.
And the stop sign is engaged here as Jacob Wilson just has to say go. There was 2 extorts paid last turn, so Andrew Brown pretty darn stable here and sitting at 8 life. He can cycle this clue stone if he wants, but it looks like there's going to be an attack first. And an instantly blocked by the snare squad for Jacob Wilson. And there it is. Get rid of that thing. Try to draw another spell here. It looks like he did. It's a red card. What is that?
Scorchwalker?
Scorchwalker. So there's, wow, that Verdenhaven is doing serious work here.
Oh, yeah.
There's a Scorchwalker, and he's going to pay for another extort, bringing him up to 9, Jacob Wilson down to 13. And the tides have certainly turned here for Andrew Brown. Jacob Wilson taking a very aggressive line.
He definitely has to in a matchup like this. I mean, post-board, it looks like Andrew Brown has been able to transform his deck into a deck that's just
pure toughness.
All toughness, yeah. Which is the most fun thing to do in the world when you're against Burrows.
Oh, it's so good. All right, both creatures attacking. And a block and a block. And here's the Swift Justice. If Jacob wants to use it, he can take down the Scorchwalker. And he's going to do just that. That's going to gain him 3 life as well, and make sure he takes 0 damage this turn. And remember, life totals are almost at parity at this point. And you got to figure that Jacob Wilson's top decks are considerably worse than Andrew Brown's for the most part.
Yeah, the 3-color Cluestone Verdenhaven deck generally has more powerful cards in it than the Burrows deck with Foundry Street Denizen.
Yeah. And, I mean, we've seen at least 4 colors. He just casts a Scorchwalker.
Oh, yeah.
Which kind of shows you, though, what we were talking about earlier with the deck build. It looks like Jacob Wilson's team was able to run some pretty good game there. I mean, when your opponent's, casting splashed Scorchwalkers off of their Verdenhaven, you did something right.
Yeah.
All right, there's an Ash Zealot.
And that being said, Matt Nass's deck looked like the other team really dismantled him. I mean, he was playing Mizium Scheme.
Yeah.
And, all the cards we saw from him were not like the most
Maze
exciting card was Frildoculus.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't see too many cards, though. I'm curious to see what else he's got going on. Oh, now there's another Hazda Snare squad. Now this could start getting interesting here.
I mean, he could start punching through.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, the Warmind Infantry is going to be a 4/3 if he does. So things could start getting pretty aggressive back on Jacob Wilson's side again. Remember, he gained that life, too. He's back up at a pretty comfortable 15. He's not really facing down much pressure here. But again, another clue stone. Looks like Andrew Brown's deck really is very much a Cluestone deck. We've already seen him cycle 2 Cluestones. This is the third one he's playing.
Yeah, we've seen him play things like Armored Wolf Rider. That's one of my favorite decks to draft is just the Cluestone 5-drop deck.
Mm-hmm.
And Armored Wolf Rider is perfect in these decks.
It's great. Yeah, it does both jobs well. All right, he's going to cycle this Cluestone and try to hit something.
Last call to register at side events for these.
And he just has to say go. All right, let's see if Jacob Wilson has an attack here.
And I think he needs to have an attack.
He can tap down the May Sentinel and the Thrashing Moss Dog, leaving just the 1/4 back. And he does exactly that. There's a trigger on the battalion here.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting in for 7, right? He's
6, it looks like.
6, I'm sorry.
Meeting area.
Which is
I repeat, Mini Masters.
a lot of damage when your opponent's at 11.
Yeah, Snare Squad, it's a surprisingly strong card. On defense there, it
Yes.
kept Jacob Wilson nice and healthy until he was able to draw another copy, and then now he can just start punching through damage.
Wow, was that an Alive and Well off the top?
It was.
Oh, man, this is like the ultimate. This is exactly what you want when you're an Andrew Brown seed. It'll help stabilize your board further and
gain you 8.
And gain you a bunch of life, yeah. That's what
Do
this card
more than a
exists
turn.
for.
Yeah, it's so good.
With Extort.
Gain 9.
Get another life.
Jump back up to 14.
Booster draft number 11. Booster draft number 11.
Looks like Andrew's opted for the card divider token here.
And I think Andrew has 2 options here. He can either swing with everybody or just swing with the Sentinel. I kind of like just swinging with the Sentinel.
Booster draft number 48.
So Jacob's dropping down to 10 here.
Please report to the gathering place.
He can swing for 7 if he wanted to ship the team in there, but it's risky business.
All right, so a Rakdos Cackler, not the most exciting card at this stage of the game.
This is what we were talking about a few minutes ago with, the top decks from Jacob Wilson's deck not being great, but that Snare Squad was a very good top deck.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like Jacob has decided that he doesn't have any profitable attacks, and so he's just going to ship the turn back. Greenside Watcher, also not that exciting, but every extort counts here. It's definitely kept Andrew in the... I mean, we've seen him pay for how many extorts this game? Probably 5?
Yeah. I mean, that's the difference between him being dead to the Snare Squads and him not being dead, so...
That's right. It also slowly is advancing his board state as the ground has now become stalled out again. Jacob Wilson needs another, active treason type effect to just blow this board state wide open, but...
I thought Jacob Wilson was at... Yeah. That makes more sense, that life total.
Okay.
Dan Hill, your Mini Masters number 6 tournament is ready to begin. Please report to the side event stage, Mr. Dan Hill.
All right, so Jacob trying to do the math. No, you can't really get through for much damage.
He just says go. I think he just got lands in hand.
Yeah, both players just drawing off the top at this point.
Well,
Fortunately for Jacob, that definitely favors Andrew.
At least a 4 drop for Andrew. And there it is, your friendly Armored Wolf Rider and the obligatory...
That just seems like so much fun to ride around on a giant dog. It's like... It's everybody's dream.
Just you and your flavor text?
Yeah, just hanging out, Good times.
All right, here is a play for Jacob Wilson. He's got 4 mana. And what is this? Well, an Armory Guard, so not a particularly potent threat, but a fine blocker in this situation. It'll keep him alive for a while. A couple of lands in hand for Andrew Brown, and it doesn't look like this board state's going anywhere. We see Andrew's back up to 15 life after all that life gain, and just tons of lands here for Jacob Wilson.
Yeah, Jacob Wilson needs a big card at this point, I think.
He does.
Something like Aurelia's Fury or...
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times the cards you think of as the big cards in a deck like Jacob's are like maybe like a Maze Runner or Tenement Crasher, just some big 6, but those aren't going to get it done here.
Yeah, and those are just par for the course against what Andrew's doing right now.
Yeah, and if this board state continues to develop the way it is, Andrew is going to win this game off of Extort eventually. I'm assuming that he has enough cards in library that becoming decked won't be an issue, though he has drawn quite a few from those clue stones. Andrew is down a game here to Jacob Wilson. And there's a Terrace Worm. All right, that can help break this board open because he can attack freely with that thing, trade it off for a couple of creatures, and then scavenge it onto something and make another massive attacker that can get in there.
Yeah, I mean, once you scavenge that onto a Vigilance Armored Wolf Rider, that's extremely scary. That's a 9/11.
Yes. That is a must chump block.
Yes.
As we see Jacob is at 9. And there we go, more of what we kind of expected.
Are the best cards you could have in the early turns of the game.
Yes.
And right now, they're not particularly what you want to be drawing.
Borderline miserable at this point. All right, in it goes Terrace Worm. It itself is going to be lethal pretty soon, too. It's not like Jacob can just take this. He's going to have to start dealing with these threats. It's interesting because now he's got to decide if he wants to start chumping or if he wants to start stack blocking to actually get rid of it. Looks like he's going to put 3 of his very high toughness creatures on it.
Yeah, this way
means that it's just going to trade.
Andrew can only kill one of his guys with that 5/5.
Take down the Snare Squad here, or?
I think so. It's the card that's the most potential to just get you.
Yeah.
For ease of filling out these match slips, you can simply circle the correct player who wins in each of the matches. But please verify with a judge when you turn the slip in.
Here we go with the Armory Guard.
Let's take that Armory Guard out. And Andrew's got plenty of stuff to do with his mana, as we do see the flashback on to the Wolf Rider, just like you predicted, Jake.
Now, that's a scary monster there.
It is. And it is lethal as well. We see that the Rakdos Cackler does have the counter on it. It is unleashed, so it can't block. Another Armory Guard off the top for Jacob Wilson, and yeah, he just needs to find something powerful to punch through a bunch of damage. Cards that you're normally worried about here are cards like Gruul Charm that doesn't seem to be available for Jacob, as he's pretty clearly just in white-red. All right, and the train of chump blocks begins. We see that Jacob has quite a few chump blockers lined up here, but with each one, his chances of actually winning go down. All right, now here's an interesting one. It's a Steeple Rock.
He would have liked to have drawn that a bit earlier.
Yeah, unfortunately, Andrew has whittled his life total from 5 to 17. And
it's a pretty big difference.
Even with an all-out attack, even a couple all-out attacks, that Steeple Rock's just not going to be able to get in for enough damage.
Please report to the gathering place.
And chump block again. All right, Andrew Brown passes a turn back. Jacob draws his card for the turn. Looks like he's lining up attack with Steeple Rock, as there's really no good blocks here. But at this point, can Andrew just say sure?
Yeah, all right, I'll go to 14.
Yeah, you did it.
I have an Abyss in play.
Yes. All right, another creature off the top is his Daring Skyjack. Now that one, if there is an attack, it can attack with the Steeple Rock, the Skyjack, and the Snare Squad. One of the Snare Squads to tap down the Moss Dog. You get in for a bit more damage here, 6 in this case.
Yeah.
And things could start to turn around here for Jacob Wilson. He has plenty of chump blockers here.
And I mean, all the time this weekend I'm looking for the one card that wins the game for people. And here it looks like Aurelius Fury or, again, Wrecking Ogre.
Well, I mean, Jacob's actually, thanks to the 2 Snare Squads, he's got a reasonable shot here. If he attacks with a Snare Squad, a Skyjack, and the Steeple Rock taps down the Moss Dog, that's 6 damage. If he can do it again, that's 6 more. That puts Andrew Brown down to 2, and he's within burn range of quite a few different spells, turn and burn. And
yeah, the problem is that he can't. He really can only do it once, because the turn that he does it, he's dead on the swing back. Right?
You're totally right. Especially because of that Rakdos Cackler not being able to block here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like Matt Nass has some advice for his friend. And the Warmind infantry's down. Yeah, just a little too late here, it looks like. And is that Rurikthar?
It is.
Wow, Rurikthar.
He is not bowing to anybody.
Pay for extort. Okay, and it looks like this is actually going to be the deciding match here, as Sam Pardee has won his match versus Eugene Hwang, and Chen-Tao is 2-0 victorious over Matt Nass's, which is why we see Matt Nass's hand in the screen now. He's got some free time thanks to Chen-Tao. So this is going to be it. Now, this is only game 2, though. So if Jacob Wilson can find a win here, then his team will be victorious, and he will join Eugene, Jai-Chen, and Andrew as the top team here, both with only 1 loss apiece. Otherwise, we're going to see a game 3 if Andrew does manage to finish off, and it looks like that's exactly what just happened.
Yeah, at that point, I mean, Rurikthar and Armor Wolf Rider and Rurikthar coming in repeatedly.
Yeah.
Jacob can't even cast any spell to get out of it because Rurikthar will just kill him. He's at 6. Rurikthar, he's
really good.
Take any stuff from anybody.
No, he does not.
Big fan of Rurikthar.
All right, so we're going to see, it looks like they're going to bring in a Wear and Tear. And I mean, after seeing both Verdant Haven and a bunch of Clue Stones, that seems like a pretty nice sideboard card to bring in here. I feel like there's a decent chance that Jacob can get a 2-for-1 out of it, and at the same time completely take Andrew off of his mana.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a good sideboard choice for him.
Mm-hmm. He's going to bring out one of the Armory Guards because that is one of his least aggressive cards. Nothing quite like starting with like a Cackler or a Dryad Militant and then curving out into an Armory Guard. That wasn't exactly what we had in mind.
Wasn't as planned necessarily. He has a Batterhorn in his sideboard.
Yeah, he does, and you got to wonder if he wants that too. It's nice because it's 4 power. It gets past a bunch of those 4 toughness blockers he has, and it takes out a Clue Stone.
Yeah, he saw at least 3 Clue Stones from Andrew, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd want that card.
Yeah, I would side that in. I actually like that card a lot more nowadays than I once did. Oh, that's interesting.
What's that? What did you see?
They brought an Avenging Arrow.
They're boarding it in?
Yeah, he boarded an Avenging Arrow. Yeah, now, I have a good story of Rurikthar. I had Rurikthar in a draft earlier this week.
Did he bow?
Round 1, he bowed.
Okay.
He did not
remained
bow.
Unbowed?
He remained unbowed.
Uh-huh.
Round 2, I cast Rurikthar. My opponent untapped and cast Axebane Stag.
No way.
Yeah, it actually happened.
Elmer just ate Rurikthar?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Too good. All right, so here we are. This is the one game to decide the entire match. Will Eugene Hwang, Chen-Tao, and Andrew Brown remain completely undefeated here? Or will this team of Grand Prix ringers, Sam Pardee, Matt Nass, and Jacob Wilson, join them in the X1 bracket at the top tier?
Yeah, only one team undefeated out of day 1. This is them. But
it's got to feel pretty good to be the undefeated team.
Yeah, there was 9 teams that had a loss, it looks like, and the Pardee, Nass, Wilson trio was one of them. All right, looks like there's going to be a mulligan here for Jacob Wilson, and it seems like a pretty easy keep for Andrew Brown based on the fact that he's got a Transkilled Promenade and a Gate, so you figure he can cast almost anything he needs.
Yeah, he even
to.
has a Clue Stone to return 3, so he's...
Okay. I didn't see what creatures or what kind of board development he has, but it's pretty tough when you're playing a sketchy mana base with a whole bunch of Clue Stones and stuff to pass up anything that has, not anything literally, but most hands that have a Transkilled Promenade in them.
Yeah, also we saw pretty much all of the gold cards we've seen involve white or green, so with that Transkilled Promenade and Celestia Gilligate as his first 2 plays, he will have no mana issues for the entire game.
Right.
especially with a clue stone return 3.
Now, if he just has no early plays whatsoever, he would have to mulligan it, as he can expect that Jacob Wilson is going to come out to a quick start. But
I mean,
we
saw Dry Militant and Rakdos Cackler.
Yeah. And some pretty aggressive 2-drops, too.
And Boros Elite, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Jacob comes out swinging.
Absolutely. And he has ways to come out swinging and keep swinging thanks to at least 2 Hazda Snare squads. All right, but he is going to 6 here. Let's see if Jacob has a keeper here.
49, register for booster draft number 49. Please meet at the gathering place. Once again, booster draft number 49.
This match is tied up at 1 game apiece, and it is going to decide. Now, there's a Daring Skyjack. We just mentioned it, Jake. Aggressive starts, and here it is. You don't really want to play your Transkilled Promenade into a 3-power guy, so yeah, we're going to see a Greenside Watcher instead. He's got enough land drops that he can wait a little while before the Promenade has to come down. He wants to put a blocker up. I would expect he would instantly trade off here if given the option. It looks like there's going to be a Sky Knight Legionnaire in the future, and I think that Skyjack's just going to stay back. Oh, no, it's not. He's attacking with it. All right, there it goes. So he decided to trade off his Skyjack. He does get in for 2 damage here, though. I kind of would have expected him to wait so that he could get a battalion trigger on it, but I don't know what's in his hand either. So, and there's a clue stone on turn 3, which is really kind of what you want your opponent to do if you're Jacob Wilson in a lot of ways, but he would rather have more pressure on the board now. I believe he's got an Ash Zealot in hand, though.
Yeah, I think he's just going to go ahead and Stone Rain his opponent with Wear and Tear, and
exactly
then Riot Piker. And the next turn he can play, like he can just Ash Zealot.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah.
Although
a little better with
his
the
opponent
Skyjack.
gets his opponent is a Sluiceway Scorpion, but that's not very good against the Riot Biker Legionnaire board.
No, it's not. And also remember the Ash Zealot has first strike as well, so this is just going to do it just can't block.
Yeah.
Just has no good
You
blocks
play your
at all.
2/2 Death Touch.
Yeah.
A very high quality
normally a
creature.
Wall. Yeah, that thing will normally stand in front of almost anything in the format, but in this particular board state, it's not doing anything. I mean, is he going to attack with this Scorpion here? Is he?
What's he going to do with it? I mean,
know. All right, cast a land. Transkilled Promenade comes down.
Yeah, I mean, Stone Raining Andrew Brown. Put him off that Maze Sentinel for a turn.
Well, it looks like he just passed the turn back, so he does want to leave a block available. Wow, he's just going to chump block? Okay.
Huh?
You got to be happy if you're Jacob Wilson at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, your opponent just chump blocked.
Yeah. His 4-drop, too. I mean, it does have Scavenge, so it's not like that's the last we're going to see of it, but that's got to be great. There's a 6-drop here, and there it is.
Jacob Wilson wins. He has the Weapon Search. That's it. Oh, or well,
the Traitorous Instinct, and he steals it, and that's it. A quick mulligan to 6, and bang, this thing's over. Sam Pardee, Matt Nass, and Jacob Wilson have joined the X and 1 club.